how does the IT infrastructure side of your job actually change the day-to-day life of a citizen living in a remote area?
Because without the physical infrastructure reaching, you cannot actually provide the other services.
Is there one specific project really sticks with you because of the tangible, positive change it brought to a household?
So you might have heard of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana
Yes.
Grameer.
Yes.
So that provides financial assistance to people in rural areas who are not able to afford to build a house. So that in itself changes your life. Now with road connectivity to the hospitals, we have seen a trend of almost 30% decline in childbirths that take it home. That means more women are able to get the medical attention at the right time.
What is the next big shift or trend you are most excited about?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of DPS Podcast Club. Today, we are exploring the intersection of technology and the pulse of a nation. And we have the privilege of hosting Miss Aditi Singh, an IAS officer, Joint Secretary IT in Ministry of Rural Development, overseeing the PMGSY, the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Ma'am, your work is a testament of how policies can bridge the distance between cities and the rural heartland. And we are truly honored to have you here with us to share our insights.
Thank you, Arav.
Welcome, ma'am. Let's just start with the questions. It's always inspiring for our students to see where a path in public service can lead. Looking back at your own journey, ma'am, was there a specific moment or experience during your student years that sparked your desire to serve our country this way?
I was fortunate in the sense that my father was also part of the Indian Administrative Service. So from a young age, I could see him as a role model. And I think I was about 4 when I decided that this is the exam and this is the career path I want to stay on. And I was lucky that I could follow that through my educational journey. And God has been kind. I qualified for the service in 2009 and I've been serving since then.
That is a powerful realization to have so on early in life at the age of 4.
That was really inspiring.
But it's all right. We all have different journeys, so it's okay to decide a little later also. That has just been my personal experience.
Yes, ma'am, we absolutely agree.
Ma'am, when we hear the term rural connectivity, our minds often jump straight to physical roads. But from your perspective inside the ministry, how does the IT infrastructure side of your job actually change the day-to-day life of a citizen living in a remote area?
So as you rightly said, rural connectivity denotes road connectivity to begin with, because without the physical infrastructure reaching the most remote areas of the country, you cannot actually provide the other services. So each road has a multiplier effect in that sense, that you also provide connectivity to educational, health, and other facilities in that sense. However, with the digital age having come in, it is important to also connect rural India with the kind of progress that is happening in the technological sphere. So when I look at information technology, some of the key use cases that have already been implemented in the country are firstly the transfer of wage payments. For example, there are rural employment schemes like the MG Narega. So the wage payments go to the beneficiaries directly into their accounts, which would not have been possible earlier. Secondly, there is real-time attendance on the work sites of people who come to work. That again is enabled by the mobile connectivity, the kind of applications that are available on site. Thirdly, security of the data of the beneficiaries. So cybersecurity becomes equally important for us while we foray into these new spheres, in order to ensure that the databases of the beneficiaries and the citizens at large is securely kept. Then thirdly, when you implement large schemes in a large country, you need real-time monitoring. So when we have dashboards, when we have mobile applications that enable feeding of real-time information and provide us at the national level that insight into what is happening on the ground, that also increases the agility in the system to be able to respond to what kind of policy changes are required, because we are a very large and diverse country. One size does not fit all. So we need to calibrate our strategies as per the regional diversities that present to us, and there are several challenges. So technology is an enabler in that sense to cater to the needs of our population as per the requirements there. So connectivity is a very holistic kind of term in that sense.
That's truly fascinating.
The Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, widely known as the PMGSY, is such a massive nationwide undertaking. Ma'am, I'm curious, beyond the logistics, what are some of the most unexpected human challenges you encounter when trying to connect these remote, hard to reach regions?
So, an interesting fact is that the scheme was launched in 2000, and we are in fact celebrating 25 years of PMGSY's implementation in the country. And it was introduced as a one time intervention in order to provide connectivity to the unconnected habitations across the country. So, as you said, when we go into remote areas where the roads have not gone before, there are specific challenges. For example, you need to take care of the environment. There are places where the roads would pass through forest areas, areas inhabited by wildlife. So we need to ensure that proper clearances are taken. Secondly, when you bring in schemes in a new area after a very long gap, you also need to build trust with that community. You need to engage with the people there and build that trust on what are the purposes, what are the objectives for which we are working and the government system is entering that area. Thirdly, we need to follow a whole of government approach. What I mean by that is this is rural development is one department. Then there is a public works department. Then there is a forest department. Then there are so many other departments at the ground. So we need to follow a whole of government approach whereby we coordinate with every department and take them together if we want to successfully implement a scheme. So it's a complex process. Governance, implementation of schemes is a complex process, particularly complex in a country like ours, which is so large and has such different realities in various regions.
Right. Man, that really adds a whole new layer of complexity to the idea of nation building. This shows that building roads is just not changing the earth, but building trust with people and changing the human heart and mind.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
So, ma'am, when we hear a lot about the urban-rural divide, as someone standing at the intersection of IT and development, do you feel that technology is successfully closing that gap? Or does it introduce new hurdles we need to watch out for?
So, Arav, I'd like to reply your question in two parts. Number one, when you have more than 6.5 lakh villages and the majority of our population is in the rural or semi-urban and peri-urban areas, there is a need to address the gaps and ensure that even the last person in the remotest habitation is able to join the mainstream of society and the path of development. In order to do that, road infrastructure is one aspect of it. We need to connect them to the rural markets, the closest kind of markets where they can take their products, their produce, their crops for getting the best prices. And that has a socio-economic impact in the sense that they can get a better income and there is more income diversification. Secondly, as far as education goes, we have also seen a positive outcome in the number of girl children who continue their education after the elementary level because the roads now reach those schools. Thirdly, when you see the kind of childbirths that used to take at home earlier in the rural areas of India, now with road connectivity to the hospitals, we have seen a trend of almost 30% decline in childbirths that take at home. That means more women are able to get the medical attention at the right time. That is one aspect of some of the positive aspects. Secondly, the challenge which we face when we come in with new technologies is it is an enabler. It is not a silver bullet that has all remedies in itself. So, number one, there is a hesitation. When you're encountering something new, irrespective of your educational or social background, you will have certain reservations about adapting it in your daily life. Secondly, a lot of capacity building and training is required, not just for government officials or those who are implementing, but also the people at large. So we do a lot of IEC activities to have a better informed citizenry, to know what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages of technology, so that while there is anomaly detection and you can reduce frauds to implementing technology, there are also ways in which people can bypass or misuse it in order to commit fraud. So you have to maintain a fine balance. You have to bring in guardrails. You have to bring in regulations simultaneously as we progress, which is a challenge, but it also makes it exciting.
It can create many opportunities but requires skillful implementation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Ma'am, it is fascinating to see how digital tools are modernizing the government. Are there any specific examples where technology helped you and your team solve a problem that might have seemed impossible perhaps a few decades ago when there was no IT or any computer system?
So I would like to explain that in terms of schemes which are already being implemented so that you have a real life example. For example, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, right? And now we have a new act also. It is in the transition phase. However, there used to be a problem of people not being on the work site but being marked as present
All right.
to some extent. So, through the use of technology, through the use of face authentication, we've been able to minimize those kind of anomalies in the system. Secondly, by ensuring direct wage payment into the person's account, you also cut out the middlemen, you bring in more transparency, you reduce leakages and corruption in the scheme. Thirdly, when you look at Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, when you're implementing something across the nation in real time, you need those real time dashboards. You need those physical progress in a place in a way that it is completely transparent, and you build trust in the system so that you know that that asset is geotagged, it's actually existing on the ground and not just on paper. That enhances the accountability in the system, and the citizens also feel that the taxpayers' money is being rightly put to use. So these are just few examples. Similar use cases are there across government, and the interesting part about the technology introduction in government is that everything is at scale. It has a very large impact across the country whenever you bring in a reform in technological terms in the government.
Ma'am, that is a great testament to the dedication and adaptability of your team.
Thank you so much. It is a team effort, as you rightly
Right.
said.
So, ma'am, behind all the policies and the files, there are real people. Is there one specific project or initiative you have worked on that really sticks with you because of the tangible, positive change it brought to a household?
We also implement rural housing in this department. So you might have heard of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana
Yes.
Grameen.
Yes.
So that provides financial assistance to people in rural areas who are not able to afford to build a house. So that in itself changes your life out of. You have a roof over your head. You're able to go to the nearest school or hospital. You see it, and it's such a holistic picture that it is difficult to give you one example. It is a cradle to death kind of situation where you take care of people right from the beginning. When they are born, they should be able to access the hospital. They should be able to go to the schools. They should get their midday meals of a particular quality. They should be able to access in their adolescent age the right kind of medical attention, and they should be able to go for higher education while having a secure roof over their heads. And if the parents are in despair, any kind of economic distress, then they should be able to fall back upon the social security system provided by the government in terms of wage employment, in terms of other interventions like pensions, which are provided to the deprived citizenry. Right?
Right.
So it's hard to point out one thing, Ben Araf.
Really highlights how infrastructure can truly transform everyday lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Ma'am, when I think of the rural areas, I usually think of the TV series Panchayat that shows the schemes, and but it also shows the frauds that people do to so that they can make use of the schemes. How do you treat those frauds?
It is a satire, but of course it stems somewhere from real life anecdotes as well, as far as the series goes. And in fact, I was Collector Balia, and I think they have utilized the name Balia as the district in that series as well. So I will again like to answer this in two parts. Firstly, when you bring in change, development is something that is not just infrastructure. It also entails socio-economic change. It entails change in human behavior, which is not something that you can do overnight. For example, if you see Swachh Bharat Mission, which encourages people to not go and defecate in the open, to have toilets at home, to have personal hygiene. These are things which you cannot just issue a policy or a rider for and say, everybody will do this from tomorrow. So for any kind of change in society to be brought in, it takes a lot of time. So we have to have patience. We have to have stable systems in place. Secondly, whenever there is some kind of financial release involved, because these are massive schemes, a lot of budget goes from Government of India and the state governments, there would be people who may like to take advantage of the system, right? In order to curtail those vested interests, technology plays a huge role. Number one, by providing real-time insights, real-time data, and we have big data. Because in order to analyze things on a national scale, you need that data in real time. Secondly, we have a lot of systems in place. For example, I mentioned geotagging of assets. For example, we upload geotagged photographs through our field functionaries onto our MIS. That ensures that that lat-long photograph ensures that that toilet, which is being reported as being made, is actually made. And it is of that beneficiary. That road, which is supposed to be in that village, it's actually there. Thirdly, it also prevents duplicacy. Once you have this GIS-enabled database, you cannot claim funds for the same project twice, be it an individual beneficiary project or a community project. So these things have really brought in a lot of transparency, which would not have been possible earlier before technology was made use of in such a large way. I hope that clarifies your doubts to some extent.
Ma'am, technology is moving incredibly fast, and it is a valid concern to wonder about those who might feel a bit left behind. Ma'am, how do you and your team ensure that these new digital benefits reach those who might be a bit hesitant about adopting new technology?
In order to do away with the hesitation, we need to carry out a lot of training programs. We need to carry out a lot of outreach programs, a lot of awareness generation programs with not just rural development department, but there are a gamut of departments of the government which are involved in this. While they increase awareness about their schemes, they also increase awareness about the way it is to be implemented using these technological tools as an enabler. But we also have to ensure that the digital infrastructure is in place in those regions where we are trying to implement them. The connectivity in those areas, the network connectivity has to be taken care of. So a lot of departments have to work in tandem to ensure that. You may say that we have brought in a mobile app for a particular reason, but unless there is good network connectivity in that area, they will not be able to utilize it. One way around that is that we allow the system to upload the photos, upload the data, and once they come back in network area in, say, the next 24 hours or a few days, as per the requirements of that region, that data automatically gets uploaded to the MIS. That is one way. Secondly, the hesitation about anything new. I think we all have that kind of reservation. So the more you see people around you using it, the more we enable champions from within that area to be able to do something that helps their peers learn better, learn faster, or accept something better. If one of your classmates does something, then that makes you feel that you can do it too,
yes.
rather than giving an example from a different district or a different country. So we are trying on those lines, and I hope that students, once they come out and they are in various fields, you yourself would be able to encourage these kind of use cases and these kind of usages of technology more wholeheartedly, because you've grown up in a system where these have been much more accessible to you than to previous generations. But as you rightly said, we need to have enough guardrails in place so that technology is not misused to take advantage of those who are not properly trained or aware about how their data is being used. So we need to be very careful. We need to have proper regulations in place for that. And I think those who are more aware and educated amongst us in society also have a social responsibility to make our peers aware about it. So it is not just the government that can do that. It is society as a whole which needs to do that.
Ma'am, it's fantastic to see that bridging the gap is just as much of a priority as innovation itself.
Absolutely. It cannot go without the other. Because the ultimate objective is to bring everyone at the same platform. If you leave certain sections of behind who are marginalized in society, we cannot really call ourselves developed then.
You'll go 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Absolutely. If somebody feels unhappy or deprived a particular part of society, then that causes chaos, that causes conflict in society. So we must always have a holistic view, bringing everyone together and trying to move the nation forward as one.
It should empower everyone.
Absolutely, Arav.
Many of us here are constantly told to look toward the corporate or tech sectors for innovation. From your seat, how would you describe the unique, fast paced innovation happening within the government sector to students like us?
When you do something in the corporate sector, while it allows you a lot of area for creativity and you can harness the energies and resources of the private arena, in the government, I feel that whatever we are using in terms of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, for predictive planning, for GIS based monitoring, for the kind of transparency, the scale is such that it cannot be substituted by any other player in society. I feel that we do things at such a massive scale. It is such a privilege and an opportunity to be able to reach lives and impact lives far beyond you could actually meet in a lifetime. I don't think any other sector provides us with that kind of opportunity. And it gives you that kind of excitement and satisfaction to be able to do that, to be a part of that.
Right.
Sounds really insightful.
Thank you.
Ma'am, now this is a fun and hypothetical question. Let's say you have a crystal ball for the future of rural development in India. What is the next big shift or trend you are most excited about?
I would like to see rural areas be as developed in socio-economic terms as urban areas without requiring people to migrate to urban areas. I would like to see that divide come down without people feeling the need to migrate out of their villages or their towns to be able to get good opportunities in terms of employment and education. That uniformity is something that I would look forward to, where you can say, for example, states like Kerala, which are so developed in the Human Development Index, there
Education.
gradually you cannot tell the difference between the village or the town area. That should be our objective finally, that the whole of India, citizens across the country should feel that yes, we are part of the growth story of the nation.
Right.
Yeah.
We are
So
contributing
without
to
a
the
crystal
nation.
ball, that is the idea, that is the goal, and it has to be done by all of us, irrespective of which career path we choose.
Right. That sounds like there are some truly transformative possibilities.
Yes, you're part of it, hopefully.
As we come close to the session, if you could leave us with one core advice, whether it's about service, curiosity, or building our nation's future, what would you want every student listening today to hold on to?
Choose something that excites you, and you will automatically make a difference in the world. Your personal growth is primary. So if you choose a subject that you're passionate about, if you choose a career path that you're passionate about, and you should be flexible enough to change it if need be because of the kind of opportunities that are coming up all the time, but the core value should remain. The core value should be to be of use not just for yourself and your parents and your extended family, but to be of use to the society, to the world, not just India. You're global citizens.
Right.
So you have to have that perspective. While being in the micro, you have to continue thinking of the macro. And your own personal growth is most important. As you evolve as individuals, you will automatically have a positive impact on society. Without feeling the pressure, just do your best.
Right.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to know that this is what we want to pick in the future? This is the career path.
Try out different things. Try out different things.
You
You're
knew at the
lucky
age
to
of
be in an
4.
environment. So I was lucky because my father was in the service. But not everyone arrives at their career choices like that. It could be that spark, somebody that you meet, you cross paths with, maybe in your childhood or your teenage or your 20s or even your 30s, that you find, oh, that person does something that really, that's interesting. You need to meet people, you need to interact with good people, and you need to see things and, try out a few things, make a few mistakes.
Right.
This is the time to do it. You can always fall back on your parents,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
That is what they're there for. They are supposed to support you. You're supposed to try out things and then come to something. And don't think that either the government or the private sector can only make an impact. Do something that helps you grow as a person, and you'll automatically make an impact. You will be an example and an inspiration for people around you.
Just like you.
Yes.
I hope so.
Those were some really inspiring words of you.
Thank
You
you.
surely imply this on ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking the time to share your perspective with us. This has been an eye-opening conversation, and I think we all have a much better understanding of how technology and policy can truly transform our lives. Thank you for being such an inspiration to us all.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, ma'am.